average American consumes 355 calories of added sugar daily. And I know there are some of you from all over the world, so just these were the numbers that I pulled up. So there are 4 calories per 1 gram of sugar, and 4 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon. So 355 calories actually equals 22 teaspoons. That's kind of gross, isn't it? Here is a table. So this is the American Heart Association guidelines on daily sugar intake by age. So if you look at what the column on the left, recommended upper limit for daily sugar intake in teaspoons. So, and then below that, the bottom row is actually what is the average daily intake. So for kids 1 to 3 years of age, 4 teaspoons is the upper limit, and they're actually eating 12 teaspoons on average. So 4 to 8 years of age, it's 3 teaspoons, and they're eating 21 teaspoons. And then kids 9 to 18, upper limit is 5 to 8 teaspoons, and they are eating 34 teaspoons. And that's the 34 is specific to kids ages 4 to 18. So those are going to be the teenagers who are drinking sodas, maybe sweet tea like we drink in the South. So it's a lot. We're doing a lot of sugar. And then the upper intake for women is about 6 teaspoons and men is about 9 teaspoons. So I would love to have you go through your own diets and kind of look at what you're eating. I'm going to list just a couple of foods here that have an extraordinary high amount of sugar, and however, they are marketed as healthy, often organic. So this is a coconut milk yogurt, so delicious. So I think it's a non-GMO and mostly organic ingredients. This is something that I loved. I used to eat these all the time when I first went dairy and gluten-free. And after a while, I started to realize, oh my gosh, it is the sugar that I love. So in one of these, it has 24 grams of sugar, which equals 6 teaspoons. So it's a wonder they're so yummy. So I point this out because I know a lot of families move from the cow milk yogurt to one of these other yogurts. And you just want to be careful with the flavored ones because they do have a lot of sugar. And if you're going to do these, if the kiddos love them, consider only giving them, maybe a couple of tablespoons from the container and, spread it out over several days. Or if you like putting this in smoothies, same thing, only put 1 or 2 tablespoons in it so we're not really going overboard on the sugar. When you look at this and you look at 6 teaspoons, so say if a school-age child ate one of these before school, like a 3-year-old or even a 4 to 8-year-old, they're getting more sugar than what is recommended for the whole day in one yogurt. So just being cognizant of these things and going easy on yourself and just changing things gradually. Here is another yogurt. This one is from Trader Joe's, and this one has 20 grams of sugar, which is 5 teaspoons. So another big dose of sugar. Here is ketchup, and I wanted to put this because I was excited to see an organic ketchup from Heinz. So this would, be available in most grocery stores. And it actually didn't have too much sugar in it. Often ketchups will have high fructose corn syrup in them and a whole lot of sugar. So this one actually has 4 grams of sugar, you can see here. And so 4 grams, we have to say, well, what is the serving size of that? And this is listing the serving size as 17. So I am not sure if they mean 17 grams and there's no G on this, or I'm not sure what 17 is, but I'm going to assume it's probably 17 grams, which is going to be about a tablespoon. And so, 4 grams is going to be about a teaspoon of sugar. So, not fabulous, but not terrible. If you're going to do ketchup, definitely want to do organic. And then Cheerios. So this is 3/4 of a cup of cereal and has 9 grams of sugar, which is about 2 tablespoons. And I'm not promoting Cheerios. I'm not promoting ketchup, I'm not promoting yogurt. I just wanted to give you some common things that kids eat. And I also want you to notice the marketing in this. So this serving size in the Honey Nut Cheerios is 3/4 of a cup of cereal. And then when you go down and you look at the the non-sweetened Cheerios, they're listing it as a cup, which equals 1 gram of sugar. So I just, they're doing more, and it's not looking like it's as much sugar, whereas this one is a smaller amount that they're giving per serving size. So just interesting, keeping all that in mind. So this is a lot less. The one thing with Cheerios is it's going to be a GMO product most likely, and they do, it is listed as gluten-free. But cereals, again, are going to be a load of carbohydrates, and the things, when it will have some nutrients in it, often it's fortified nutrients. So we want to be, when we're talking about nutrient-dense foods, we want to be getting the nutrients from foods that have those nutrients naturally. So anyway, just a couple of comparisons. And now on some more shocking sugar comparisons for beverages. So I talked about this in the previous webinar. So for a cola or a soda, the content, it has about 39 grams of sugar, which is 9 3/4 teaspoons. The same amount of orange juice is going to have 7 teaspoons of sugar. The same amount of cow's milk, 4 3/4 teaspoons of sugar. So remember that lactose in milk is a sugar. And sometimes we forget about that. Casein and whey are the proteins in milk, but lactose is the sugar. And that's also why lacto-free milk is not okay, because it still has casein in it. And casein is the inflammatory part, whereas lactose, the sugar, is usually what causes kind of the gassiness that you feel after drinking a cup of milk or a milkshake. Vitamin water has 4 teaspoons of sugar. So when people think that that's a healthy alternative, it is not a healthy alternative. And then soy milk has 3.5 teaspoons of sugar. And then unsweetened almond milk is going to have just a small fraction of a teaspoon of sugar. So this is also why when a lot of families will switch from cow's milk to like a chocolate almond milk or something like that. So I want you to look at the labels to see how much sugar is in them. And you will be surprised. Sometimes it's going to be close to the amount of sugar that's in even like an orange juice or a higher sugar drink. So be careful of the unseen sugar in things. Now, when it comes to weight gain, we know that we are more obese now than we have ever been as a country and globally. And one little simple technique, I'm going to walk you through the math of this because I think it's very powerful. So say you need to lose weight, which I don't generally recommend kids lose weight unless they are obese. And normally I would have them grow into their weight, not necessarily lose weight. So this is going to be more, for the adults or children who really do need to lose weight. So if you stop drinking one high sugar drink a day, like a soda, you could lose 16 pounds in a year. So how does that work? So there are 4 calories per 1 gram of sugar. There's 12 ounces in a 12-ounce soda, there are 39 grams of sugar. So 39 grams times 4 calories equals 156 calories. A can of Coke says it has 140 calories. So I want to be true to what the can says, but from my math, you get 156. And so there are 3,500 calories equals a pound of weight. And if you take 3,500 calories divided by 156 calories, which would be the amount in a can of soda, that would take 22 days to gain a pound or to lose a pound, right? So if there are 352 days in a year, and we divide that by 22 days, that would be 16 pounds in a year. So a really powerful way, if your children or if you are drinking sweet tea, vitamin waters, Gatorades, things like that, that is a really simple way to start to decrease the amount of weight that you're gaining. So you're going to slow down gaining and maybe even lose some if you need to. Okay, now we're gonna transition into the harmful effects of sugar. So the first thing that I talk a lot about in my practice is how sugar suppresses the immune system. So think about it, even when I was a kid, as natural as my parents were, when we were sick, it was the only time we got to drink sodas. We could get a Sprite or a 7 Up. And it's typically, or we're reaching for orange juice. So what happens when you take 100 grams of sugar? So how much is 100 grams of sugar? It's a decent amount. So that's about, if we go back here, there are 39 grams of sugar in one soda, and one 12-ounce soda. That would be, like 2 to 3 cans of soda. That would equal 100 grams of sugar. So that suppresses the immune system up to 5 hours. And what they literally did with this study is they took the healthy volunteers and they ingested the 100 grams portion of carbohydrates from things like orange juice, and then saw a significant decrease in something called the phagocytic index, which is an immune system, which these immune cells, they help engulf or they eat bacteria and get rid of them from the body. So it's the heightened decrease in the activity of these cells was between 1 and 2 hours, but it did last up to 5 hours. So really, really important part of when I am seeing kids who are on recurrent antibiotics and they have a high sugar diet. One of the things that we do in our overall plan is we start to decrease the amount of extra sugar that they have in their diet. And so that the foods and the drinks that we're putting in them really knock a punch and are going to be healthy for them. So in the bigger picture, everybody knows diabetes as something that is, truly impacts your health. Diabetes impacts almost every system of your body. And when we are looking at the negative impacts of sugar, excess sugar, that's why we can expect to affect every system of the body. So some of the symptoms, like just of diabetes, are going to be, from the central nervous system or from the brain. You're going to be very thirsty, very hungry, lethargy, tiredness, stupor, which is like dizziness. With your eyes, you can have blurred vision. You can have weight loss. Before it's diabetes, you're actually going to have weight gain. But when you have a new onset diabetes where your insulin isn't working, that's when you can have weight loss. And it impacts your lungs. It impacts your GI system, your kidneys, it impacts your circulation. So glucose is a big, bulky molecule, and it just runs around the body and damages tissues. So that is why we don't want to be doing a whole lot of excess glucose. The American Diabetes Association showed that in 2010, 25.8 million Americans had diabetes, and it has jumped now in 2012 to 29 million, and that is 9.3% of the population. So we are really in an epidemic. It's the 7th leading cause of death, and we as a country spend $245 billion a year on diabetes. So it's this is, again, to me, really decreasing the sugar is a no-brainer. It's got to be done gradually, because when we have set up our taste buds to anticipate sugar, that is what we're used to. And when our taste buds are bathed in sugar all the time, they're not going to be as sensitive to the subtle taste of real foods. But when you start to switch, those taste buds start to change, and you're not going to always crave the sugar, and the kids won't always crave the sugar. One of my families recently, because they took this on full force, and they're making everything at home from scratch, and the husband came home and told the mom, I can't eat, you've ruined me for jarred salsa. He can't even eat it anymore because of the taste. They've gotten so used to the fresh taste of what mom has been making. So that was a huge compliment. The other thing, excess sugar and obesity, that's a huge cause of diabetes. And diabetes is, another one of the leading causes of death in the US. So we really want to be cognizant that we're keeping our heart healthy and decreasing sugars. One of the downloads that we have for you in this module is it's a handout of all of the different words that can be sugar, that are sort of hidden words for sugar on labels. And this is from my friends who are health coaches at the Whole Tulip here in Charlotte. They are awesome. Audrey and Carolyn, their sisters. And I encourage you to look up their website, thewholetulip.com. And I also encourage you to download this and either print it out or download it onto your phone so that when you're shopping, you can look on boxes of cereal, on crackers, in soups, in anything in a package. You want to be looking for these added sugars and trying to pass them up if at all possible. So that is what I have for you on sugar. I hope it was helpful. As always, we're going to keep doing our best daily practices, drinking plenty of water, getting outside daily, limiting screen time. And then just to review this video, so keep the big picture in mind, decrease inflammatory foods, which includes sugar. Remember how much sugar milk has in it. You want to pay attention to symptoms, whether it is mood swings when kids eat sugar, behavior issues, we want to be cognizant of that. And as always, we want to increase veggies, fruits, fats, and clean proteins, and enjoy life, right? So sugar is the sweetness of life. So you don't have to cut it out completely. We just want to really start to decrease some of the processed sugars that we're doing. And then taking action, limiting dairy as much as possible through continuing omega-3 fats, continue the fermented foods and or probiotics, continue digestive enzymes, consider adding a fish oil, and consider adding in vitamin D if it is winter where you are right now.